Welcome back to What Arty Noobs. This is an M44, the Tier 6 American SPG. This one's located on the north spawn of Fisherman's Bay and it's under the command of Moose. Now, you just saw him in action in an SU-8 and he got rather a good result, except of course he was wiped out right at the end by an enemy Hellcat who managed to escape the cordon. Well, let's see how he gets on in this one. Well, the M44 is considered by many to be one of the best arties in the game, and the reason for that is the incredibly fast reload rate, which is 16.08 seconds for Moose, and it's also got a 155mm howitzer, which is mounted in a swivel bracket. I think you can see that from above. The point on which the gun is centered is a swivel mount, and that allows this arty to fire over a very wide arc of fire without getting massive reticule bloom, which means you can take on multiple targets on different sides of the battlefield and get them hit with very little time to dial in on your aim. Okay, he's aiming towards the windmill on the west side of the map. Normally you get an enemy tank will appear somewhere near the windmill. Normally near that rock, yes. He's aiming for that area. And yes, a Rudy's turned up, T-3485. And over in the centre there's an enemy T-3485 as well. But it's not the Rudy version. Rounds out on him, lands very near to him and stuns him. Also does some damage. Yes, he is missing some hit points, so he did get some splash there. The other Rudy, well, he's also been splashed. In fact, he's lost 1/3 of his hit points already. And he's hiding behind the rock, but it's more than likely he's going to poke around the edge to see who's there, and that's when you can hit him. Well, over on the other side of the map, as I said, you know, it's a very wide arc of fire. He's now aiming for an OI near the city. Rounds out. Looks like he's going to get hit. Yep, direct hit for 162 hit points. Mind you, he did hit the heavy armor, so that's why it's not as high as before. In fact, there's 3 enemy tanks in the town. A 112, an IS and the OI. But we can't see those at the moment, so we're going for a Scorpion G that was seen on the west side of the map, right at the back near the bunker. Okay, so he's going to try and fire around at that one. And that looked reasonably close. Now, the other good thing about the M44 is you get plenty more rounds than you do in the SU-8. In fact, the 26 rounds you get in the SU-8 is really not enough because you can easily run out of ammo, whereas the M44 has a lot more to play with, and that means you've got a lot more damage that you can do to the enemy. You notice how he repositions after every shot. That's good practice. You don't have to do it every shot, but you can do it just to ensure that the enemy can't get shots on you, because if you keep moving, their counter battery will fail. He fires around at the T-34. It hits the building, unfortunately, but he's pulled back, so if the enemy does shoot at him, they'll miss. Okay, nothing in sight. The Rudy on the west side has already been killed. Just got killed by our Pershing. Nothing in sight over on the other side of the battlefield, though. That's the unfortunate thing about this position on the west. It does sort of restrict your ability to fire at targets in the town because the buildings can get in the way. The Scorpion G just pulled back, which may be a bit of a bad error for him because, well, Moose has fired in and he did get some hit points off him. So I said it's a bad move to pull back. Okay, now we've got a Progetto 46 standard as well. That's the Tier 8 Premium Italian. Okay, he's lining up a shot. I think he's going to go for the Scorpion again. Hits the bunker. Doesn't necessarily mean that he didn't do any damage. Just that no damage from that shot is, well, less likely. More likely, I should say. Going for the 112. Oh, hit the building, but it's still splashed onto the 112. this is where it can be really useful in the town, because these tanks have actually come out of position. They've left the protection of the buildings to get round our heavy tanks, and they've now made themselves vulnerable, and that's another 100 hit points that 112 is going to miss. Oh, and he just got set on fire, I think, and that was a premium fire extinguisher went off. But we've lost a number of tanks, the IS-2 shielded and a T-34-100. We're going for the Tiger, and it's a direct hit for 202. And Moose has moved again, but only just slightly. Okay, down in the south, on the west side, we've got the Progetto. He's out in the open now. We're dialing in on him, and the Scorpion's there as well. He fires around in ahead of the Progetto's path, but the Progetto was tracked suddenly, stopped, and of course that meant the shell missed. And that Scorpion G in the background, he's now one shot. You only need to land a shell near him to kill him, and in fact he has gone. So now he just needs to put rounds near this Progetto to deal with Splash. Oh yes, he stunned him, and then he got wiped out the next moment by the M12 on our team. Okay, we've got an enemy Arty on the run. Our Lorraine 15550 leading shot, rounds out. That's going to be a bit late. Yeah, a bit late, but he did pick up some splash for 64. When doing leading shots on an Arty that's on the move, you do have to take into account its speed, how much distance it's going to cover in the time it takes for the shell to reach the target, and if the flight time of the shell is about 2 or 3 seconds. Oh, he hit that one! He did get the burresque there, because he fired the shell in, there was no explosion, so we know we touched him. Yes, you do have to give enough lead to cover the shell, the distance that the shell's got to travel to get to the target. It's something that most Arty players tend to get by almost instinct after a while. Become very good at it simply because we fire so many leading shots at the enemy that we tend to know what the leading distance is and get it right most of the time. Okay, he's now looking for that burrasque. Or is it the burrasque? He's looking for somebody over that side, and our guys are nearby, so hopefully they'll spot the target and then we can get a shot on him. The enemy is now being boxed in to the southeast corner of the map. Okay, he's now going to check. If he goes over the ridge line, okay, he's now looking, just there's the pathway. If he goes beyond the ridge line near the water, that's where the Arty is going to be found. He will seek the protection of the trees and the cover that's near that lake. Either that, he will go right to the edge of the water and hide there. So you aim for targets that your teammates can spot. And there's one that's just been spotted. It's a Dicamax. We're dialing in, almost ready to go. Rounds out. It wasn't fully dialed in, but it did go towards the target. And there's the burrasque. He was actually in the tree line. There's the Dicamax is still there. We're almost loaded. Now he's pulling back behind that house, but he didn't pull back far enough. And this time round he did get splashed for 51. The KV-2's pulling back to the houses. The burrasque is still there, but the Lorraine 15550 must be somewhere nearby. Okay, we're looking for a target. There's the Tiger 1. Lining him up. Rounds out. This looks good. 152 hit points. It was a near miss. And there's one of his Arty, the M12. Everybody seems to be firing. Oh, he's gone. Okay, go for the Dicamax. This time you should be able to splash kill him. The KV-2's next. Get the KV-2. He's gone part of the way into the town. Not all the way. Rounds out. Splashes him for 69. Oh, he just gets wiped out by the T-29. And that means there's only 4 enemies left. The IS, the Tiger 1, the burrasque, and the Lorraine 15550. But unfortunately, we've lost all the guys who came in from the east. And there's one of the enemies, the IS. He splashes in for 196. Unfortunately, we just lost the T-29 because the burrasque came up behind him. And now it's 4 versus 2. And unfortunately that round hits the church. The Barask is still there, but the IS-3's ready for him. And of course the Barask is much lightly armed compared to the IS-3. Just depends on how the IS-3 plays it. Times like this, it really does help to get closer to the enemy to shorten the reaction time. The IS-3's found the Barask again. Oh, and he's killed the IS-3, so now it's 3 Arty versus a Barask and a Lorraine 15550 who's been wounded. Rounds out, trying to get the Barask. Lands near him. Now, if I was in Moose's shoes, I would drive south immediately over to the west side of the map. Get into the south position in the southwest corner. The M12's moving down the east side of the map. It's a fair bet that the Barask or the Arty will attempt to come up to the cap. If the Lorraine 15550 is thinking about it, he would actually possibly go over to the west, but he's not actually. He's gone over this side. We can see him now. He was spotted by the M12. Rounds out in the Barask. Close hit for 87, but he now knows where we are from that hit. Our Crusader's starting to move over to the west, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to get over in time. The Barask is unspotted, but you can be sure that he does know where Moose is now. He would have been able to work out from the direction of flight of the shell that Moose is on the west side. In fact, actually, he's gone up to the cap. He's ignoring Moose. He's headed towards the cap to get the Crusader. So now's the time for him to intercept that. Oh, the Crusader dupes the Barask and takes him out. I think he did a shotgun, or certainly it was a close range shot. And now it's a good idea for Moose to go and propel himself towards that Lorraine 15550. Last sighting was at the center line. Now, although the Lorraine 15550 is faster than the M44, as it's based on the Lorraine 40-ton tank, it's not as agile at shotgunning as the M44 is. And here he is. We found him. And he's low on hit points, so a near miss will be enough to take him out. This Crusader will be aiming for him as well. Okay, he's gone behind the bunker. He's running for the west side. We've locked on. But he's turning to face us, which is a bad mistake. We only need to drive up and derp him. And that's it. Moose gets him. Practiced hand at the M44. Knows exactly what he needs to do. And he prevails. Let's have a look at the end of battle stats. It's a first class tank for Moose in the M44. He managed to get a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits in that one. He managed to get 22. And he also got a Confederate medal for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. Let's have a look at team scores. Well, if we look at team scores, we can see that the highest scorer in the game was the Batchat Barask. He managed to get 4,047 hit points of damage. He was a very good player. And the next high scorer was Moose with 2,095. And after him, it was the KB2 on the enemy team with 1,954. When it came to kills, it was that Barask again. He got 7 kills, picked up a high caliber and a top gun and a tank sniper. And I'm afraid the next high scorer was the T29 with 3 kills. And we can see that the Crusader SP managed 2 kills, so did the Pershing, M12 and T3485M, and that Lorraine 15550. Moose only got the 1 kill, unfortunately, but when it came to base XP, he got the top one. 1,080 for him, 839, oh actually no, it's 873 for the Barask, because he was better than the rest of the winning team, and 839 for the Pershing. 25 shots fired, 4 direct hits, 1 penetration, 24 splash. Damage of 2,095 hit points, of which 2,036 were at more than 300 meters. Obviously the difference is the Lorraine 155-50, who was shotgunned at very close range. And that's the way you do it. You actually just drive up to the people and shoot them in the side, and it's all over and done with very, very quickly. It's like a coup de grace. 11 enemy vehicles damaged, 1 killed, and 313 hit points of damage assistance. He also picked up 851 hit points of stun assist off 22 stuns. On a premium count, he earned 31,612 credits, and after ammunition resupply, took away 34,793 credits. He picked up 1,080 XP, times 2 for the first victory, 810 from personal reserves and 3,240 from personal missions payout, and took home 7,290 experience points altogether. Almost jumped the gun there. So a good result for Moose, in fact a great result for Moose, because he got the final kill of the game and sealed it for his team. But he did exactly the right thing. He thought on his feet. He moved south to to get away from the impending enemy coming towards their cap, because obviously you don't want to be where the enemy is. If the enemy's coming towards your cap, you don't want to be there. You want to be able to shoot at him from a distance and keep hitting him and keep him guessing, because the longer you can stay alive, the more times you can get a reset, the more you can force a draw. Under those circumstances, yes, you do want to be away from the cap, but you do want to have a teammate there who's actually spotting for you so you can see where the enemy is. But he did exactly the right thing under the circumstances. So, great game for Moose and a victory. If you enjoyed that replay, please give this video a like and do subscribe to our channel, please. And thanks for watching.